All right, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, I have been of the opinion, and perhaps my guests will talk me off the cliff, that HBCUs should be abolished. I do not think they're effective. I don't think they're needed anymore. I think obviously there's not a lot of DEI going on those college campuses. Overwhelmingly, there's women on the campuses. Overwhelmingly, there are blacks on the campuses. The numbers are very disproportionate. I wonder. Frankly, and I hate to say this, but just speaking the truth, I wonder if many blacks are getting the best education possible because they're not challenged or they're not competing against enough, or in my opinion, other ethnicities. So anyway, what my guest literally went to the campus of Tennessee State University on the Fearless Debates tour. You guys saw the videos with both he and Cam Higbee that went viral last weekend. And they weren't treated very kindly at Tennessee State University and HBCU after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So I want to go right to my guest, David. Welcome to the program, and I straight up, I applaud your courage.
Thank you so much, Carl. I appreciate it.
So walk us through this, because I got to be honest with you, David. Most people, you're talking about an HBCU. You go to that HBCU, and there were a couple of signs that you guys were holding up at tables. You guys were asking, yourself and Cam, you guys wanted to debate students on the campus, and I think you did probably for 5 or 10 minutes or so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Speaking at Tennessee State University, how did that go? What were the signs that you guys were holding?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me on, Carl. The signs were relatively the same signs that we've had at various other campuses and stops before this HBCU. Before the HBCU is our first stop at one. We were arguing that DEI should be illegal, and I can't really remember the second sign because that was the center of the conversation. But you're right, we did have two great civil conversations with two gentlemen. I believe that we changed their perspective and opinion on DEI, which is successful. At the end of the day, we're not there to do gotcha moments or to berate people with facts. We're there to perhaps change their mind. And if it's not their mind, it's somebody in the audience. So I think what we were doing was very effective, because the approach that Cam and I both take when it comes down to DEI is that it's racist. And I think that there's no reason nowadays in 2021 to have overly progressive policies that actually bring us back in time to the dark history in America that we're so fighting for against nonstop. So that's what we were there for. We got a few conversations like that before some outside agitators, or it's not outside because they're students, but some agitators arrived and decided to cause some chaos.
Okay, so before we get to the chaos, I am curious. You said you were able to persuade a couple of guys. You know what's funny about that, David? I would suspect that if you went to an HBCU, it would be easier. I know there would be some nut jobs there, but it would be easier, in my opinion, to, I don't want to say convert, but to persuade some men as opposed to women. I'm just being straight up. Women could be ghetto fabulous. So that doesn't surprise me. Do you recall what you guys said at the time, or the arguments that you made that may have persuaded those couple of gentlemen?
Absolutely. My arguments consistent has been since I was first introduced to DEI, which was back in college, that DEI is essentially an outgrowth of critical race theory. And if you read the books of the authors of critical race theory, like Kimberly Crenshaw, you'll see that she advocates for a society that is not colorblind, which means that she believes that policies should be rooted in race. And that sounds like DEI to me. It is exactly DEI. So when companies like United engage in DEI, that means that they're looking at race or gender. When they're hiring individuals, they do the same thing in institutions. And hey, when we look at individuals through the lens of race, we are doing the exact same thing that DEI was trying to fix, or let's say affirmative action, which is to remove any systemic racism or institutionalized racism that we have in America. But unfortunately, it seems like these overly progressive policies are doing that exact thing. So my argument to anybody that maybe doesn't know what DEI is or has a hard opinion about DEI is, why should I look at individuals based on their race, based on their gender? shouldn't I look at you as the individual you are based off your skills, based off your character, based off merit? Should we qualify you to institutions based off merit? And it's hard for a person that understands the dark history that America has had to argue against that, because it does seem like we're trying to bring us back to there. Like, again, I make the point that maybe affirmative action at some point was necessary to remove the systemic racism that America once had. But I don't know. Do we need that in 2025? It doesn't seem like to be. So I like to argue from a very moderate position, although I have a more extreme position, because I really do think that persuades individuals' opinions, or at least gets them to think about it. And you can see that, like, in the videos, I ask people, they say, how can we take care of this system without DEI? Well, I'm like, well, explain to me what's bad about the system. Is there a single policy that discriminates you based off your race? And the gentleman was like, no. That kind of makes the conversation about DEI much more easier.
And that's great. And honestly, it really does take not only smart people, but frankly, I can hear it in your heart, David. And I appreciate people like you. The same thing that Charlie Kirk had. There's this passion, and there's this love, and there's this patience, frankly, for people that I don't necessarily have. I do have a love for people. I'm a Christian. I want to see people come to Christ. That's what I believe. I love all people. I don't like all people, but I believe I have the same belief system that Charlie Kirk had. But he had the patience that I simply don't have, and I can hear that in you too. So I appreciate you having the courage and going to these college campuses, because we still need you guys out there. And obviously with Charlie Kirk, with his murder, I hate when people say his passing, but with his murder, obviously there's a big hole that needs to be filled, in a massive hole. I know you guys were already doing this, but anyway, I'm glad you still are. And it's always odd to me, David, frankly, that that these HBCU campuses, they don't adhere to a lot of DEI policies themselves. It's the most ironic thing. It's like we want to break down the hierarchy. We want to get rid of systemic racism that doesn't exist, in my opinion, by being systemically racist. It is the craziest thing ever to me. But I want to go ahead and play some video. This is actually of Cam. I got to be honest, Cam looked like he was sweating bullets. I don't see you in this particular video here, David, but I know you were right nearby. But Gabe, let's go ahead and play. I think it was video number 1, if we could.
All we did was set up a table.
Okay. Let's pause this video. Let's pause this video for now. It gets more intense. There's a couple more that I want to show you shortly. But where were you at, or how near were you to Cam Higbee at that time, David? And what were you guys feeling? Because frankly, that's pretty intimidating.
It sure is intimidating. And I think that was the purpose of it, right? At the end of the day, is to intimidate us off campus, which was successful. I was at the very front, unintentionally leading a Black Lives Matter march, which I didn't sign up for. Cam was pretty much Cam was in the middle of it. So to explain to you what the middle is in this march, which is about 150 to 200 person march. When I got to my car, I didn't know where Cam was. There were so many people between Cam and I that I was like, oh, well, they got Cam. I'm getting in my car, no, I'm not leaving him behind. But it's a massive, massive march, essentially, like storming us off campus.
What sparked it? I mean, it was literally, you said, we have a minute left in this block. I'd like to hold you for another block if I could. Sure. But what sparked it? I mean, was there a particular question? Who started agitating here? 1 minute.
Yeah. So that last conversation that we had, we actually swayed the individual's mind regarding DEI. It was a gentleman. We didn't shake hands because the cops unfortunately arrived. But the cops arrived at the same time that about 20 women arrived and started to yell at us. So I'll go more detail about that in the next block with you. But yeah, it was all fine with the two gentlemen until a group of 20 women arrived and started to heckle us. And that heckling quickly turned into yelling at us and just yelling stupid stuff, turning into racist stuff, going back to stupid stuff. So it was all calm until a group of 20 women arrived. And then within 5-10 minutes, everything escalated so quick, Carl. It's crazy.
I can imagine that. And oh man, honestly, it makes total sense to me. Guys, we're speaking to David Khait. He's an independent journalist. He's with the Fearless Debates Tour. He was out doing the stuff, frankly, Charlie Kirk was doing as well. And they're just doubling down after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We need people like this on college campuses to fight for conservative values, Judeo-Christian values. We'll be back with more of David Khait on the other side. Hey guys, Carl Jackson here for MyPillow. A major retail chain just canceled a massive order, leaving MyPillow with an overstock of classic MyPillows. Now it's your game. For a limited time, MyPillow is offering their entire classic collection at true wholesale prices. You get the standard MyPillow for just $17.98. If you want more, upgrade to queen size for only $22.98 or king size for $24.98. Snag body pillows for just $29.98. And versatile multi-use pillows for just $9.98. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, that is CARL, or call 800-858-0263. All right. Plus, when you order totals of $75 or more, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts, no strings attached. That's right. Premium pillows at unbeatable prices and bonus gifts to top it all off. Don't wait. Head to mypillow.com right now or call 800-858-0263. And don't forget to use the promo code Carl, CARL, to grab your standard MyPillow for just $17.98. That is insane. Can't beat that with a bat. Okay, so we're picking up where we left off. This is Cam Higby. Now, as David said, he couldn't even see basically his partner, if you will, on campus at this point in time because he was in front, surrounded by 150 to 200 students, perhaps even more, looking at this video. And they were having a decent conversation, and then all of a sudden, girls get loud and rowdy, and then a crowd of more students come around and start calling chaos. Let's go to the next video because I want people to see their security guard. And then if I think you said cut number 2 here, Gabe, and I want to get David's take on that as well. So this is the security guard you guys took with you. Is that correct, David?
Correct. Yep. Our private security guard that we hired.
And they're doing their best to torment him, suspect because they're like, what are you doing? Protecting these white guys? I hate to say it, but essentially that's probably what they're thinking, and they're antagonizing him. Just give us your take on what we saw in your experience there again in general.
Yeah, well, it's very, very unfortunate. When the heckling turned into yelling and the crowd grew, it became just a mob mentality at that point. People were just, you couldn't control them regardless of what you were going to do. So our private security stepped in between a very, very aggressive individual and Kim because somebody stole our sign. Kim tried to get it before he left, like the area table. And this guy just like stood right into Cam's face and was telling him, do something. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have seen that video. So our private security guard got in the way in between that because I was walking up to Cam and he said, no, let me take care of this. And some of the students noticed that and they asked him right away, wait, you're with them? And as soon as he said yes, they just, I'm not going to repeat it, but it's just racist remarks.
Yeah.
absolutely crazy remarks. And you can imagine, right? The same stuff that they call Black conservatives, right? I mean,
Yeah.
automatically, we don't know this guy's political affiliation. All he told me was, hey, I went to an HBCU. I can try and talk to them, but they're just not grown up yet. And then he laughed and said they may never actually grow up. So this is what our private security guard said that went to an HBCU. Anyways, the video
Wow.
you guys saw was we finally got to the car. We finally got into like safe area, what we thought would be safe area. And I told him, get in my car. We're going to take you to your car. And he said, no, I got this. I'll handle it. And then later on Twitter, we see that video of them continuing to do the same crap they did at the table. And again, I'm not going to repeat the racist remarks, but you obviously saw how they were treating him. And they were disregarding everything about him simply for his affiliation with us. Again, we don't know his political affiliation. It's simply because he was there to do his job.
Okay, so let me ask you this: your goal is to go on these college campuses, regardless whether it's an HBCU or another university. I suspect, and convince people, hey, listen, let's be colorblind here. God doesn't look at race. God isn't a respecter of persons or people's color, if you will. Neither should we be. Let's base everything on merit, so on, etc. I'm assuming that's kind of what you do, not just particularly on this campus, but others. But was this experience eye-opening to you? Because again, I frankly believe it's racist. I just got to say it. I think HBCUs in this era, I would agree with you. I just think there is no need for them. And I say there's a Black professor at Kentucky State University, Wilfred Riley, who is an excellent professor. I know there are some great educators at some of these schools. I know there's some great students at some of these schools, but I don't believe that they should stick around in the same facet that they exist today. I just think it causes more division. What was your ultimate goal? Let me ask that. Your goal, Cam's goal. What was your ultimate goal when you arrived at an HBCU? Did you expect to see anything like this? Obviously, Danny Glover, the actor, reached out and said, what did you expect going to an HBCU? And I'm thinking, well, they're college kids. I'm expecting civility and debate, but you guys didn't get that.
Yeah, regardless of the campus, we don't even look at the demographics of the campus. We didn't even know it was an HBCU till the night before. I go to a campus in Atlanta, Georgia called Georgia State University. I don't go there. I used to be a student there, but I go there to do my content. And we thought Tennessee State University is the same exact thing as Georgia State University. Only the night before we learned it's an HBCU. Regardless of where we go, our goal is this exact same thing everywhere. It's not to provoke anything but just thoughts, just to provoke people's thoughts and to get them to think about it, and perhaps to have a civil conversation, to be tolerant of each other's disagreement, and perhaps change some minds or to clear up some misinformation or whatever the case is. Once we learned that it's an HBCU, we figured, hey, this would actually be a really good conversation to have at an HBCU regarding DEI. Because again, I feel very strongly, and so does Cam, about the position that DEI is racist. And why in the world do we need a racist-based policy in 2025? It only creates more division. So at the end of the day, our conversation, or our goal, was just to do the same thing we've done at every campus. It's to be civil about it and to have a conversation. The whole reason we did this in the first place was because we do feel like we can't let terrorists terrorize us at this very moment. That's exactly what the assassination of Charlie Kirk is. It's a terrorist attack to try and terrorize people who want to be able to bring discourse to the public square. So we're not going to back down. And we thought, hey, if we're at our lowest moment right now and we can still resort to using our words rather than violence, that might be very effective in terms of chilling out the left, because the left is very radical. They're the ones that resort to violence, as you can see, when they disagree with us. So that's pretty much that.
I got to say too, Blacks should be offended by DEI. I mean, I don't get it. I frankly, I went to college for about a year and a half. I had a child out of wedlock, ended up dropping out before God, radically changed my life. But I got to say that the whole thing just seems demeaning to me. I'm accepting the premise that I'm dumber than the average American that doesn't look like me, or I'm incapable of succeeding or learning, applying myself and learning just as much. I don't even understand why blacks would accept the premise that we need DEI, but nonetheless, I'm glad that you guys are out there making the case. Let me ask you this. We have 3 minutes left in this block. You guys have done, how long have you been doing this?
The tour has been on since last Monday. So there you go. 2 weeks today.
Okay. But you started doing this type of stuff before, obviously, Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Yeah, absolutely. The majority of my brand is built on going and engaging with mainly college students on campuses in not a gotcha moment and not to overwhelm them with facts, with real civil conversations where I genuinely want to change somebody's mind, which my style is asking a lot of questions. So it just goes in line with pretty much Charlie Kirk's style.
Okay. All right. No, I absolutely love that. What would you say? What's the percentage of people? We've got 2 minutes left that you've seen when you've gone to these college campuses that you guys, either yourself or Cam Higby, have been able to persuade. And then also, just real quickly, tell people where they can go to find you on X. I've started following you. I want to make sure others do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Carl. David _Khait, Khait, across all socials. Also go follow our Fearless Debates tour. I don't know the ads, but I'm sure you will find it. And I forgot what was the question, but that's
no,
just
socials. How many, what would you say the percentage of people that you've been able to persuade? We got a minute and a half.
Yeah, I don't know the amount of people. We've genuinely had more than 15, 20 fantastic conversations where I could see that somebody's opinion is changing. That's besides the hundreds of fantastic civil conversations that we've had. The main thing is that we don't do it for the person that is up at the mic. We do it for the people that are hiding in the corner that may have a radical position or a center position. It's probably the center position. You can't convince the radicals. Those are the people that we think we are changing their actual mind, is the people not at the mic, the people in the crowd that want to be convinced, and perhaps we're giving it to them.
I love that. And honestly, that is what's needed. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your courage. Obviously, I don't need to encourage you to keep going, because I know you are. The same is true with Cam Higby, but I'm so proud that we have guys like yourself on our team that are going out and spreading the message. I mean, I literally do not have the tolerance or the patience to go to campuses like that. I think everybody has a different call, David. That is not mine, but I can see that it's yours. Obviously, it was Charlie Kirk's. I can see that it's Cam's. And I appreciate that you guys are doing it with love, patience, and persuasion. So God bless you guys for what you're doing. Really do appreciate you. I just want to tell you guys to keep up the good work. I'm honored to have you on the program, and I look forward to having you on again.
Thank you so much, Carl. I appreciate it.
All right. God bless you.